Good morning. This is Gaming Perspectives with
Saul
and Jolene. And today we're talking about
video gamers. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Video gamers to TTRPG gamers.
Right.
I'm not sure what that means, but you can
Tabletop
tell me.
role-playing games.
I know what that means.
Oh.
Do you mean the influence of video games on tabletop role-playing games, or people that play RPGs online to becoming tabletop role players?
Right. People who play
or vice versa?
video games as a whole, not necessarily role-playing game video games, but most likely they would be the ones who would want to make the leap to tabletop role-playing games. But video game players that want to get into TTRPGs.
I'm just going to tell you right now that you were a tabletop gamer before you were a video gamer, or maybe you were, because I don't think there were that many video games in the late 80s.
I don't know which came first, whether it was D&D when I was in.
Of course, they did have that one, like, it was a game, it was like a pinball game, but it wasn't a pinball game, it was
The
a
Atari
video
2600 is the first one I had.
game. But like even at the mall, they had
the Pong?
No. At the mall, where video arcade was, they had the game, the old game with the wizard and the.
Don't remember exactly what game.
I don't remember what it was called. But.
But anyway, so we're here to talk about people who are video gamers and are thinking about playing tabletop role-playing games.
See, this is a different topic than exactly what I thought it was, which was how they influence each other.
Well, and that's going to come into play too, because when you play almost any, I should say, not any, but almost any video game these days, it has been influenced by tabletop RPGs. For example, if you have any kind of hit points, character classes, character attributes, any of those, then it's been influenced by tabletop RPGs in one way or another. For me, it seems like it'd be a no-brainer for a video game player to easily become a tabletop role player. But for some reason, there's quite a few people who are playing tabletop role-playing games, but I think more people play video games.
Well, it reaches a different audience. I mean,
Right.
There's more reach for it, right? You're online, you see something, you want to play.
You're talking about video games.
Video games, yeah.
More people play video games than role-playing games or tabletop role-playing games.
Is that that's what you said?
I'm guessing, yeah. I'm guessing that is true.
That's what
There's a wider audience.
Yeah.
If you play video games and you play role-playing video games like Baldur's Gate, any D&D themed game, there's a ton of them out there. And almost any game where you play a person in a world that is kind of like a role-playing game. It's easier to make that leap from playing a video game to playing a tabletop role-playing game.
And you're not just talking about Baldur's Gate, but you're talking about like Dungeons and Dragons Online, right?
Yeah, anything and
and
everything.
World of Warcraft, which
Well,
has been
World
around.
of Warcraft, you're right. It has been around a while.
Yeah.
And I think those people are really primed to play a tabletop RPG. But I don't know if a lot of those people have started playing tabletop role-playing games or not. But it seems like they would, or it would be a lot of them would want to play, but maybe not. Like, what would make it easy for players who play video games to make that leap to tabletop role-playing games?
Well, I think if you're talking about if they play any kind of like a D&D online game,
Oh, yeah.
then they already know the classes and
Right.
the kind of what they would want to be, because they've already done that in the video area, right?
Correct. And they might even know the rules, because, like, if you play, even the other day, I hate to say, just recently got Baldur's Gate 3
You were given it for your birthday.
for my birthday, correct? So I haven't even bought it, even though it's been out, I think, 3 years?
I don't know. Augustine's already gone through it a couple of times, I
Yes.
think.
And so he told me, well, it's just D&D 5th edition, Dad. It's just like 5th edition D&D. And I said, oh, okay, no problem. This is before I even sat down and played, because I asked him, what do you think about Baldur's Gate 3? He said he really liked it, and exactly that. He's already gone through it 3 times, whatever that means. No, I know what that means. But anyway, it starts with, it's like a quest, right? You start off in a situation, and you progress to the end of the game, and you finish the game.
And I think that if you're playing one of those kind of games, then when you do play a tabletop role-playing game, you're going to expect to have a person to talk to get a quest, right? Because that's how they do it on like Because I always see Augustine. He's like,
Yeah.
we have to go talk to him and Alan when they were playing D&D online. When they were from the time they
The
were
quest giver.
Yeah, you go to the quest giver and they give you the quest. I think it's the same with World of Warcraft, isn't it?
I've never played World of Warcraft. I'm sorry, but for example,
But we watched that show.
you're talking about the Guild with Felicia Day,
Yes, you and Augustine watched that.
right?
So I'm pretty sure that was based off World of Warcraft, right?
Oh yeah,
Or-
easily.
So they definitely have quests and
Oh yeah,
stuff
yeah,
like that.
yeah. I think it was the other game even earlier than that they called them instances. I don't know why they called them instances, but that was when the fight would start. Remember that guy called who goes in and attacks by himself and it gets everybody killed?
Oh, Leroy Jenkins.
Leroy Jenkins, right? So just like that, they could sit outside of this area, and then as soon as one person or one character goes into past the line or whatever it's called, then the monsters come out and attack.
So you're saying as soon as someone crosses the Rubicon?
Yes. As soon as the player does that, then all heck breaks loose. So you're right. Those kind of video games are more or less trying to mimic what it is to play in a tabletop RPG.
And I think that comes from the fact that a lot of those video games may have been written by people that started playing tabletop RPGs.
I don't know how much actual cross-pollination there was in there. How many those people who programmed those games actually played tabletop RPGs. But they were certainly very heavily influenced by role-playing games because that's what they're trying to mimic.
And influenced also by like Lord of the Rings and stuff like that, right?
Oh, of course,
and,
the fantasy series and stuff. But a lot of people can easily make that jump because it's so similar in that sense, right? Especially if you really like role-playing games in video format, the video game RPGs that we talked about. I think one of the hardest things to imagine from a video game player is that why they would want to go, or why I would think it'd be beneficial to them, or why they would have fun. Was the ultimate.
How would they have fun doing tabletop role playing instead of just
and why it would
on
be
their video
more
game?
fun than a video game, right? And I think it comes down. The first thing is in a tabletop role playing game, you have the ability to your character could try anything they want. So even Baldur's Gate, which is a really good game. I mean, I started playing. I don't have a lot of hours in it. I have maybe 80 hours playing, which by most people is not a lot. But you run into this problem in every role-playing game where you go to a quest giver or even somebody that you're going to fight. You know, you get these this dialogue boxes or choices. You get a choice of 4 or 5, whatever it is, and you say, who are you? And then you say you can threaten them, you can try to beguile them, you could try to be subservient to them or whatever, and then you choose which one you're going to angle of attack or how you're going to come across. And then another dialogue box opens up, and it could be like a flow chart or a tree of things happening, but they're predetermined, right? You can make these different choices, but sooner or later you're limited to what choice you can make.
It's like a choose your own adventure book, right?
It is exactly like that, right? It's only as good or as in-depth as the programmer makes it, but really you are, in the end, limited by
what's in the program.
And when you're playing a tabletop RPG, there is no limit as to what you could say or what you can try to do or what you can imagine to get past a certain situation. For example, in Baldur's Gate, I was in a certain situation where I was trying to rescue somebody, and then there was no way around it. I had to fight these creatures. I guess there was one way where I could, what do you call it?
Sneak?
No, BS my way through it and make them go away. But for the most part, most of those choose your own adventure pages went to fight, right? So I was like, okay, we're fighting. But in an RPG, a tabletop RPG, that's totally different. If you could come up with a thing that is just off the wall, or there is nothing other than your imagination limiting what you can do. And I think once video gamers see that and play that, I think they're like, wow, this is really neat. I think that's the biggest selling point for a tabletop RPG for a video game player, because if you play enough video games, you know that you're limited by the programmer's own programming skill / imagination.
Well, I think it also just brings the fact that you can go IRL, as my son would say, in real life, and you can see all the different characters portrayed by people sitting around the table, right? And I know Augustine and Alan had this thing that they always had these clerics with them, but the clerics would never heal them.
Oh, well, they wouldn't heal them when they wanted to.
Right. Because they were always complaining. They're not healing me.
But they were like NPCs.
They were NPCs.
Right.
But the fact that if you have a cleric sitting at your table is going to be a lot different than dealing with a cleric on a video game, right? Because you use that cleric on the video game to heal the party, right? So that you can keep going. But in real life, when there's a cleric sitting there, he's going to look at the party, right? And he's going to go, okay, I have these 3 spells. I've used who needs to be healed, right? Or he's going to cast whatever to do a mass healing on the party.
Right. He gets to decide who is like triage.
Yeah.
He has to figure out who the person that is most important and needs healing, who's closer to death, and all those kind of things play into it. Which, if you're playing D&D online and you're using an NPC, the program just kind of decides to heal. He'll heal himself first.
Yes.
The cleric. He goes, I'm hurt. I'm going to heal myself. I don't want to die. I remember those days, or those nights when Augustine and Alan were playing. He goes, he's not healing me. He's healing himself. The dummy.
Take my soul stone with you.
Yeah. So obviously, playing online is a lot of fun. Playing with other people online is a lot of fun. But I think when you make that transition to a in real life tabletop RPG, that is there's just a huge difference. And one of them, you just said it, right? You said it when you're in real life around the table. Not only do you as a player have agency as to what's going on with your character, but everybody else at that table also has that player agency. So they can make decisions and help you come up with ideas that will solve whatever situation you're in or problems that you're having in the game. So I think that is huge also, right? There's a huge opportunity for people to use their imaginations to work things out, and not necessarily has to end or be a fight. It could be as simple as something else, whatever that else is, or depending on how your party, your group of people want to deal with the situation. And I think that sets it apart from a computer game, no matter how good that computer game is programmed. And there's been a lot of advances in computer games, right? I mean, if I go back, okay, I'm gonna age myself. I could age myself some more, but I'm not going to do that. There was a game called Altered Beast. Now there was a story there, right? Somebody stole the princess or something and took her away to the castle and was gonna marry her or something, do something, I don't know what. And you're the hero, and you basically would go across the screen being attacked by these beasts, and you would overcome them and get stronger and get stronger. And the whole point of the game was for you to go to the end and rescue the princess, right? But as technology advanced, and there was advances in graphics, advances in amount of storage a computer could hold, things became much more detailed. The games became more beautiful to look at, and the stories became more intricate, right? There was more things that they could add to the game simply because they had more storage capacity, and the ability to get that storage capacity and throw things on the screen would work so much faster than they used to do in the past. I mean, I remember talking about we just mentioned the 2600, and they were talking about how they were using like 6K of memory. K. I'm not a megabyte, nothing, not even close. And how they were limited by that ceiling, and they were excited about how much they could make their game exciting. And one of them was called Adventure on a 2600, and they were talking about how an Adventure was a good game for its time. So it looked like you were just a little white circle with a sword in front of you, and you solved problems and rescue people and fight things, and it was like a dungeon crawl kind of. And you can imagine that game compared to Baldur's Gate. Another thing is you said even though you can get together with people online and you have friends online, I think it's a little bit different when you meet people in real life, when you sit around a table and you're talking to them and stuff like that. And I've heard some people say, well, we really are get together for social reasons, and we play is a secondary reason, right? We play games secondary because we're all together. Now, for the most part, that hasn't been my experience, where we get together to be social, and then on the second thing is gaming. We get together to play, but of course we're going to be social when we get together, because
that's just what happens.
Usually if you play with your friends, and even if you don't play with your friends or play with strangers, there's some social interaction happening there that happens no matter what. For example, our friend Cowie, she's a host of our games sometimes, and it's unlike any other experience I had when I was a kid, where everybody brings their own food and bologna sandwiches and soda and 2-liter bottles of soda. She actually puts out a lot of food out for us, and
it is appreciated by everybody that comes to our house to play.
And we're like become hobbits all of a sudden, right?
Yes.
We go up there.
Because she has cheese, she has quiche, she has all kinds of stuff that is just like, oh, wow.
Sweet cakes. Yes. So that's a different kind of experience. And it's pretty close, right? Are we there to be social, or are we there to game?
When you put Cowie in the mix, it's going to be...
It's pretty close. It's pretty close. But I think we're there to play.
Yes.
And I think that's why we go there. And I think it makes it so much easier to go there than other places, right? Like we could go meet at a gaming store, right? That would be a totally different experience than playing in somebody's home. And even I remember one of the other players was saying, well, we could rotate where we play, go to my house, go to Saul's house, go to Cowie's house, whatever, because she's the first one to say, oh, you can play at my house. And he didn't like that player didn't like the idea of traveling the distance away from his house. And I'm not saying he's a homebody or whatever, but he probably doesn't like to driving too many places. But after we played there for the first time, I said, oh, yeah, we're at the end of we're all sitting at the table. We're putting our stuff away. Hey, thank you for running the game, whoever was running, blah, blah, blah. And then I happened to say, Morgan wants to rotate the place where we play. I think he wants to play at his house. And Morgan, with a mouthful of food still, he's like, oh, no, it's okay. We could keep playing here. And then we all laughed because of Cowie's hospitality. So I think it's definitely a social situation. Sometimes it can be very close as to why we're meeting, whether it's for social reasons or for playing the game. But for me, most of the time, I think 99.9% of the time, it's been for playing the game. And sometimes very close, it's the social situation where we're there to meet friends.
Even when I was a kid playing in my brother's friend's basement, it was his mom brought pizza down and stuff, right?
Wow.
So, I mean, it's out gaming, even on E.T., you see the when they're gaming.
That's right.
It is a social thing, right?
It is very social.
But they're there to play the game. That is a better in real life situation to be able to go and eat and have drinks with people and play the game versus if you're online doing it just by yourself.
Right. And then everything is done with clicks, right?
Yeah.
Instead of, you don't even have to talk playing online. I mean, unless you're playing with people.
Playing
but for the most part, when I've been playing Baldur's Gate, I'm not saying anything. I'm just reading, and clicking.
But you're having fun.
Oh, yeah. It's still entertaining.
I mean, it is totally entertaining.
Right. Okay. So another thing is, I think playing that around the table is that you're physically present. You're there. And as much as you can be there in a computer game or a video game, it's not the same as you using your imagination to put yourself in the character's eyes and try to imagine what that character is seeing.
But it does give you an idea of what you're imagining. Like if you're going from playing Baldur's Gate or some multi-person player game online, you have these images of where places are and what things are, right? And
yes.
So when you sit around a table with people, you have those images in your head. Whether or not the people around you have the same images might be different, right?
Of course. Yeah. No, I totally agree that playing video games does kind of like help you imagine things. But if you've never, let's say, in whatever games you're playing, you never come across a Jotund ogre. you may not know what a Jotun ogre is
until someone shows you a picture of it.
or not even just describes it to you or
Yeah.
tries to, right? The GM tries to describe to you what it is, and you're like, holy crap, that is amazing.
I want to see a picture of this to
Yeah.
know what I'm looking at.
Know what I'm looking at. But I think years ago, I don't know what it was. I think it was some sort of scary book that people were reading, and people say that the book was scary. I don't know if it was Anne Rice or Stephen King or whoever, but they said that when people read something and they don't make it so explicitly descriptive, that their own imagination makes it worse in their own head, because they use their own fears or their own experiences to create whatever image that the person is trying to bring up in word format, right? So when you read something scary, whatever that is, you might imagine something really scary because you think certain things are scary. And if you told me that, I go, oh no, being attacked by chickens doesn't seem scary at all. But if you had a phobia of chickens, that would be terrible, right? And for other people, it could be rats, spiders,
Clowns,
dolls, those kind of things. And so everybody has a different experience as to what they consider scary, what they consider exciting, what they consider enormous, blah blah blah. And I think that's really an important part of role playing.
What I was getting at was that when you play the video games online, or you play role playing game online, whatever, you have a picture of what it is, and it might be totally different when you're at a table, because there's going to be if you're playing D&D, there'll be a battle mat, right? Or there may not. It may be
right.
theater of the mind, but it'll enhance in their brain. It might not look as cool, but they might come to discover that it's even more interesting seeing what other people are, believe that it looks like.
No, I totally agree. You're right. It gives them like a template to work off of.
Yeah.
Right. And then of course the GM or the fellow players could, like, if they've had experience with that monster, going, oh yeah, and the GM's describing it, but you forgot about this part, and they have this, and they have this ability or whatever. And I think that is, you're right, that they come with a template of what things are, and bring that to the table.
Yeah.
So we kind of jumped around here for my notes. The concept that you just said, the video gamer most likely has familiar terms and ideas, and you got the general idea of how a tabletop role-playing game works. And I said it before, is because so many video games are based on ideas and concepts of tabletop role-playing game. And I think that makes it easy for a video gamer to get into a role-playing game, a tabletop role-playing game.
And it's not only D&D, right? There's there's all kinds of first-person shooters, and then there's like Left 4 Dead, and those kind of games that bring different genres in, right?
Right.
And when I say first-person shooters, I'm talking about for a tabletop role-playing game, it would be like where it's modern stuff, where it's a spy, or you're going after
outgunned.
Or you're going out after the Nazis, or the different kinds of games that people play online that I've seen.
Right. And so I think first-person shooters are probably the least likely to be able to get into a role-playing game, because it's so fast action and detail-oriented in a certain sense. But at the same time, there's games that kind of try to mimic that kind of gameplay.
Yes.
Where there's all kinds of rules, and you're moving on a grid, and you got to have line of sight. And I think those kind of games will be highly appreciated to people who are really into first-person shooters. Just like there's people who are into real-time strategy games, like basically civilization games. Again, those might have a harder time making that transition. But there's political intrigue in games. There's, depending on what kind of role-playing game, and depending on the GM, they could run a game that is really all about political power, war strength of a nation or city-state, or along those lines. And you are dealing with peace treaties and determining what to move back and forth between cities as far as wealth and goods and stuff like that. And I think Though it's a little harder transition to make that video gamer into a tabletop role-playing gamer, I think it's possible. And of course, there's stories, right? I talked about the storyline. Video games now, video game players are exposed to these really in-depth storylines, background even, worlds that are just not two-dimensional, but three-dimensional in the sense that they have so much depth and they have a lot of information that you could go through. I mean, in this story, kind of early, a lot of times this happened in a book, right? You had a video game. I forget what video game it was, but there was a book about the world. Now, the book was a physical book that you could look at and had all kinds of information. And I think they put it in a book because they wanted to save space on your hard drive for other things that was needed by the program. But now people have so much storage available because of technology advances that you can put
all the stuff on there.
Tons of information on the game, in the game, about the world, about the situation, hundreds of NPCs with names, with personalities, anything you can think of that you can put into a video game because you have so much storage. I mean, I remember games used to have, like a big game was like 50 megabytes. Right now it's 50 gigabytes that the game takes. And that is a huge amount of space if you think about it. People who play role-playing games, video role-playing games, might expect something like that from a role-playing game, a tabletop role-playing game. And that's what you're going to find in a tabletop role-playing game. Usually people have the GMs who come up with these extravagant backgrounds. They have big stories to tell. And the fact that you get to take part in that story and not just be along for the ride on this railroad, I think it makes a huge difference. And I think it'll be enticing for people who play video games. So if you're a video game player and are thinking of moving over to tabletop RPGs, to get away from the console, to get away from the PC. I say PC, not Apple, because nobody plays on an Apple.
That's probably not true.
That's probably true. And then you can make that transition pretty easily. It all depends on the game you're playing, the type of gameplay you want, the kind of experience you want. You can easily look things up. Google will tell you what you want. If you ask it, I play this video game, what is a good tabletop RPG I should play? It'll pop up. If not, go to Reddit and there'll be 1,000 people to tell you what game you should play because people are really like into trying to get you to play certain games. Now, a lot of times those people will tell you to play like a game they like and can ignore where you're coming from. But there's some people who go, oh, if you like, I don't know, I can't think of a game. But if you like a science fiction game, play Lancer, right? Because it has to do with big mechs and tactical combat and stuff like that. So I think if you like video games and want to try your tabletop role-playing games, I think you should make the leap.
Okay. Sounds good.
Sounds good.
Anything else you want to say?
Nope. I think that's it.
Okay. There you go. This is Gaming Perspectives with
Saul
and Jolene.
And you have a good day.